He's evil. He's culturally appropriating the Irish leprechaun shtick. Really, he's just a little
He's
half Romanian, half Polish guy.
I
We'll add it to the list of when we talk about his ranking.
We are ranking horror movie villains. Welcome to another episode of Talk Talk Punch. Thank you so much to both our audio podcast listeners and our YouTube viewers for joining us. I am Brody, joined by Tudong Dylan.
hey,
And the Katniss Everdeen of this district, Charlie Hickman.
Always a pleasure to try to guess what nicknames you're going to come for, and I'm never close.
I try. Well, if you haven't already, we'd love it if you subscribed so that way you can come back here every Wednesday to hang out with us and have some fun, just like this topic, because we are continuing on with our October coverage. So we're talking about horror movies because these guys like them and they make me talk about them, even though it scares me and gives me nightmares because I have to revisit traumatic things. What was that?
What? I was trying to give you nightmares and traumatic things.
yeah.
So, we are going to do our rankings. We love our rankings. Charlie, what are you doing?
Why do you assume it's me?
I don't think Dylan is doing that.
It's definitely not me, but maybe it's you. I thought it was you, bro.
Wasn't me. Charlie's pushing
The
buttons.
magic soundboard.
Oh, okay. Well, we are ranking 12 different horror movie villains. And so if you've never been here before, we're going to take them off, we're going to shuffle them up, and we're going to bring them out one at a time. And we're going to talk about these things as I relive some childhood trauma. So let's go right to it.
As I relive my childhood trauma.
So I'm going to read it through it for our audio listeners. So first up, we've got Freddy Krueger, and then Jason Voorhees, Chucky, Pinhead, Leatherface, Norman Bates, Ghostface, Michael Myers, Jigsaw, or John. What's his last name?
John Kramer.
John Kramer. We decided to just call him Jigsaw. Hannibal Lecter, Pennywise, and the Leprechaun. Otherwise known, did you guys know he has a real name? The Leprechaun has a real name.
No.
His real name is Lubden Bukowski.
He's Bukowski?
But
he's supposed to be Irish.
Bukowski, yeah. Buttowski. I just figured that out tonight as I was.
That's like a
all
Polish name. He's supposed to be Irish from Ireland. It should be like O'Connell or something like that. It's not supposed to be Polish. What is that? That can't be his name. I don't know what you wrote.
He's evil. He's culturally appropriating the Irish leprechaun shtick. Really, he's just a little half Romanian, half Polish guy. We'll add it to the list of when we talk about his ranking.
Yeah. Hey, I did like a half-hearted search to find out like why he's called that, and there wasn't anything really obvious. So I said, all right, that's fine.
Why he's called the Leprechaun?
No, why? Like what is like his origin then? If his name is Lubden Bukowski, how did he become a leprechaun?
Well, clearly he was a refugee from Poland, and he fell into a loch in Ireland. Ipso facto, he's a leprechaun now.
There we go. So we'll factor that in.
I've got to look that up.
All right. No. So there is our 12 that we're going to be ranking. So let's go ahead and shuffle these up. Shuffle. That.
Yeah.
Ooh. That was something else. That was the wrong slide. I don't know why this moved, but I'm going to fix that real quick here. All right. So first up, we have Chucky from the Child's Play movies. How do you guys feel about Child's Play?
I'll say this. I like the movie. I think the first one, the second one, third one, but hey, I like this. It's a voodoo curse. He's put his own soul into a doll, trying to get out of the doll, and then he just starts owning it. I like that later on in the series. It's like, I don't even. Why am I keep trying to get out of here? His intentions are pretty bad, and before he turned into like the child's play Chucky doll, he was a killer before that, a notorious, brutal killer. So, I mean, I think personally, I think your intentions and like, do you seek it out or do you or like like Jason Voorhees, he's at Crystal Lake. If
Yeah.
nobody went to Crystal Lake, nobody's gonna have problems with him. But Chucky, on the other hand, goes after people, intention and intentional.
So first Chucky movie, good. I liked Bride of Chucky a lot, maybe even better than the original Chucky. That was great.
Yeah,
I'm actually in the middle of the Chucky TV show, which is on
nice.
Peacock.
Interesting.
So that's the
Mhm.
thing that exists. Also, I found out recently that they did a reboot of Child's Play, like
Yeah.
a modern retelling,
Yeah.
and I just
Hmm.
somehow completely missed that even existed, and I'm pretty comfortable with that.
That's
Be careful
Aubrey
like the
Plaza,
cult
doesn't
of
it?
Chucky, seed of Chucky stuff. Uh, I think this falls in the category of the deeper you try to explain the lore. That sometimes we don't have to fully understand how the voodoo works. It's just a murderous doll. We don't need to. Sometimes the lore exploration is wonderful, and sometimes it just gets a little much. But I like
That's true.
Chucky. Is very iconic, very easy to recognize, and definitely pure evil. So I think this is a top row for me.
Okay.
I
I
agree.
I could see it as top. I think maybe like the bottom side of the top row.
Yeah, because although his intentions are terrible, he is still actually just a little doll. Like, you kind of pick him up, toss him around, even though he's supposed to be strong. But yeah, I would say six. If he's going to be on the top, I'd go six.
Did you know that there was going to be a Chucky Candyman crossover? Or no, Leprechaun Candyman. Never mind. Excuse me.
We can talk about
Not
that
think
when
I-
Leprechaun comes up.
Yeah. Sorry.
Yeah,
I got
Chucky to me kind of gets onto like that creepy side, even more than like the really scary side.
Well, what's wrong with
Yeah.
creepy? That still
Nothing's
gets you
wrong
top
with
six.
creepy. No, there's people that are scary, and then there's people that are creepy, and I feel like it's two different things. At least for me, it is. And then, well, and as the movies went on, he got less scary and less creepy.
And
You got
way more
you gotta
fun.
watch you gotta watch the TV show because he's creepy and scary-ish in that. He moves fast. Little legs go fast.
There you go. There you go. All right, next up we have Ghostface from the Scream movies. Now, there
great
wasn't
mask.
just one
It
Ghostface,
is, yeah.
right?
No.
It's
A
all
lot of-
just they're all different people.
Yeah, every movie has a different ghost face or ghost faces. Uh, so don't get a lot of repeat business in the
Yeah.
under the mask. But they're good.
Very creepy.
If you guys haven't seen the new Scream movies, I recommend them. They're Scream 3 was like the worst of the Screams, I think. I even worse than Scream 4, which I didn't remember it being that way until I watched them all recently. But the new ones are good.
Now,
Give them a chance.
I haven't seen the new ones, so my question is: in the earlier ones, he falls down quite a bit. He gets knocked over exceedingly easy. Is it the same in the later movies? Like, because it's almost comical and it's almost like satire. Like, they'll throw a bottle at him and he flies back.
So I guess I'll answer this with like one of the things that I like about Scream that I didn't like when it first came out. So I didn't like Scream when it like the very first Scream. I just thought like, oh man, it seems like it's trying to make fun of the horror genre, but it's like just doing all the things that it's complaining about. So you're like you're watching all the same things, the tropes that drive you nuts, but also in a way where they're like winking at the tropes that they're doing, but you're still just watching the tropes. Like, so it's just not like it didn't feel all that
Sure.
ingenuitive or creative to me at the time. But I've developed a much deeper nostalgia for it as the years have passed, and a much stronger appreciation for like the wink and the nod. So to answer your question, Dylan, is when he's killing people, he's unstoppable. You get him with a car, and he's just gonna be fine, or she, depending on who's under the mask. But when it's time for someone to get away, very easy to knock down or knock over. So it's wildly inconsistent. The strength range, like of whoever's under the mask, as soon as the mask goes on, it could be a 110-pound little boy or girl, and they are picking up grown men and flinging
Yeah.
them 300 yards. It just it's a little bit of that movie magic of like whatever the story needs, that's what you get. I do think that the new ones do a better job of like building more suspense. I think they're just I don't know. This is characters that you wouldn't expect to maybe be in as much peril as they end up in, and so I think there's there maybe I don't know if scarier is the right word, but that's the word I'll use because we're talking about scary, not creepy, just
Not
scary.
creepy. No, I wouldn't say Ghostface is creepy. And I haven't seen the newer ones. I've seen a number of the older ones. And I
Yeah, but
thought they were fine.
that first scene in the very first one, come on, tell me, like that was pretty creepy or scary. It was kind of creepy and then scary.
Yeah, the phone calls like out in front of your house. That's creepy
Sure.
and scary.
So would you guys say
Uh,
top six, bottom six?
This would be in my bottom.
I'm okay
Well,
with putting it in the bottom simply for the fact that it's not one consistent person. It's just like the mask is like what we're celebrating here on the list, and the mask itself is scary, but it's just a regular person, and just quite frankly, a lot of different people. So
should we
I, I'm,
start at
I'm
seven or a
fine
little
bottom.
lower?
We could start at
Yeah, 7 or 8
It's
sounds good to me.
become pretty iconic, which I remember when these first came
Oh yeah,
out and
true.
thinking
That's
that
true.
this was just like a pass by movie that was going to be nothing. And it's stuck around.
Really?
Yeah,
Yeah.
I didn't think it would be much.
Hmm.
Okay. That was also like 25 years ago. So
well, there's another one coming out next year, so catch up. There was
okay,
one in
Michael
22, one in 23,
Myers
and now one in 24. So.
from the Halloween movies.
Now, this one is kind of tough. I'm going to be very honest. I never really cared for this as a series, even the very first one. Like some of it is it's okay, but it's always seemed like they're really trying to build tension, and it's almost like it's like too much tension, and they start losing me. I didn't see the very new ones. I saw the Rob Zombie ones, and the character was considerably scarier in a more Jason Voorhees kind of a, or even Leatherface kind of a way. But I mean, I've seen clips of the new trilogy, and there's so many things of people like there's like they could have escaped, they could have run away, they could have just stayed at a distance and shot him from a distance instead of running up and shooting themselves in the face somehow. So I mean, like this was never really. I know that the character is iconic. I know that people love the character and they find him scary and creepy. But this is one that's never really done it for me as a series or as really a character.
I actually agree. I remember seeing the older ones and I saw the newer ones and did not care for the new ones and wasn't like super blown away when I first saw the old ones either. I was
His background is murky as well. Like he just is crazy, but somehow he can also withstand. And they never say, "Hey, he's a zombie. Hey, he's dead. Hey, any of this kind of stuff." Like eventually, they finally kill Jason, but no. I mean, I guess in this new one, they finally killed him because they tossed him into a, um, I don't know, not a trash compactor, but they just chopped him up in like a wood
Jason
chipper
or Michael?
almost. Michael.
Okay.
Jason would still come back. Jason would come back.
If you look closely when you watch the first Star Wars movie, you can see him in the trash compactor in New Hope, like he's just kind of sticking out of the corner. There's a little Easter egg for you.
But he is Michael.
This.
Oh, go ahead, Charlie.
Well, I just get so this is like part of I think one of the movies that Scream parodies the most, like the idea of like the killer who's like somehow everywhere all at once, but just is also a dude. And then Scream obviously does that by having multiple killers. So it makes more sense, and they do it kind of like to poke fun at some of the horror movies that came before, but also like provide semi-credible reasons for it. So yeah, this one was not high on my like list of beloved horror movies, although I do think the first two are very good. I need to catch up on some of the newer ones. But yeah, he's very iconic, and he's got that lumbering kind of like he's got William Shatner's face on him, right? Isn't that Shatner's
Yeah.
face in the mask?
Yeah, hot.
So I
Of
mean,
course, give me Picard all the way, but I mean, come on.
maybe the new one should have Picard's face, or maybe Chris Pine's face. Like maybe they need to
There you
update.
go. There you go.
Chris
Just have
Pine's face.
But
like a
it
buddy
is
get behind
comedy
that.
horror movie with
like Michael Myers is extremely iconic. And it's
That's true.
hard to deny. Like when you think of these
Yeah.
types of horror slasher movies, you think of like Freddy, Jason, and Michael Myers. At least I do.
Yeah, you can't say. I mean, he is a massive killer. He kills people brutally.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, yeah. He does not leave people like standing. He has crushed people's heads. He has stabbed and stabbed, and he somehow makes like one of those Halloween horror things when the final girl character does her last final girl run around, so she can see how everybody's dead, and they fly out at her like a haunted house. He's very creative with at least how he sets up the characters after he kills them.
Sure. So where are you guys thinking for this? Like
it's got to be top row.
I'm thinking
yeah,
top
he really
row.
does. He's got to be top row.
Even though I'm not crazy about the movies, like the character itself is.
It's really good. It's good. Even though his stuff is murky, I mean, he's definitely a killing machine. Are we? What do you think? 4 or 5?
Should we start at 5 then?
Yeah, let's start at 5.
Let's see what happens. A lot of like, I mean, these are all pretty iconic characters, so there's going to be some lower.
It's going to be tough to carry that through. All right. Well, speaking of iconic, we've got Jason Voorhees from Friday the 13th.
This one's tough to deny because at the very beginning they had no clue what they were doing. They were like, first it's the mother, and then it's the kid, but the kid isn't a kid anymore. Somehow he survived his drowning that his mother thought, and grew up on his own.
Don't overthink it. Don't overthink it.
Yeah, you don't want to, because the mother is also there, and she thinks he's dead, and he's like, "Mother," and she's like, "No, you're dead. I'm okay. I'm right here." No, you're dead. I gotta go kill people. I'll just wait here, I guess. But then he's a grown adult, and he's upset that people killed his mother. So first the mother is upset that the kid gets killed, and now the kid's upset because the mother is killed. I love it. It is completely circular, but he can't be denied. He isn't ever stopped. He cuts his way through movie after movie, and people watch it and they love it. And sometimes they do different things, like Jason Goes to Hell, where now he's a slug. His soul is a slug. I love that. I absolutely love that. He's on holodecks. He's murdering people there. He beats up Freddy.
He did.
However,
I mean, that's how Michael Myers got William Shatner's face, was from Jason in space.
But I will say, like, he doesn't go, I mean, I guess except for when Jason takes Manhattan, but he's following people there, I guess. But I mean, usually he just sticks around Crystal Lake. So all you have to do to avoid him is avoid Crystal Lake. But he's got the highest body count on here by far. He's got to have the highest body count.
For me, Jason is like top 3.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
Okay.
Should we start at 2 just to keep it in the middle for so far?
Charlie?
Sounds good.
Charlie, what are your thoughts on Jason?
Like, fantastically iconic character. It doesn't make a lot of sense, and that's okay. These are, we're not here to overthink the plot lines here, and how they manage to keep bringing these characters back over and over again. Really like, there's some really great movies in the early stages, and if you're into the campy stuff, maybe we should watch as a podcast. We should all watch Jason in Space or something like that, because it is a ridiculously bad movie. But
watched it.
It's horrible. It's horrible. But
we should watch
us watching it together collectively.
Part 6 is perfect, bro. Part 6 is great. He comes back to life. He's got multiple.
I will say he's got multiple video games on multiple platforms, which Michael Myers can't say, Chucky can't say. So he definitely belongs in the top 3 for sure.
He has run the gamut. He was a ghost of a little kid. He was a regular serial killer, and then he becomes a supernatural zombie. I mean, he goes all through the entire list here.
Yeah, and then he got upgraded in space.
And then he gets upgraded in space.
All right, next up we have Leatherface. I don't like Leatherface. And I actually think that like his family is creepier than he is.
He's pretty creepy though. When he starts like shrieking and what have you, it's like, oh no, no, no. Like it's okay.
That's
Calm
true.
it
I
down.
forgot about his
Calm
like
it down.
screaming. Ugh.
Yeah.
I don't like Leatherface.
You don't like him because he makes you uncomfortable because he's like, or you just don't like him because he's not very impressive.
I don't know. I just don't like him.
Charlie, what do you think of Leatherface?
I mean, I probably wouldn't get along with him either. I mean, I wouldn't say that I like any of these people that are going to be on this list. You know, don't know that tea and brunch is in the future for me and Jason Voorhees, but yeah, I mean, as far as like the original Texas Chainsaw Massacre is just such it's a tremendously iconic film, but the sequels and the remakes,
it makes
I think probably bottom for me. Yeah.
And when I say I don't like him, like I can watch and enjoy a Jason movie, right? I can watch and enjoy a Chucky movie. I don't enjoy watching Leatherface.
So it's too scary for you. Does that mean that we should have him higher?
No. He would be in my bottom 6.
Wow. Oh, bottom. Okay. Got it.
I misheard that one too.
Sorry.
So now
change the rating on this thing. All right. Yeah, bottom 6 for me, I think.
Okay, where?
Okay, now better or worse than Ghostface?
Worse than Ghostface for me.
Yeah, I think I put him underneath.
Interesting. Oh, so then, all right, where would you guys put him?
He has one of the harder Halloween costumes on the list because you have to get a chainsaw.
It's true. 9.
I could
really
start
to consider how easy it is to dress up.
We have a stacked list. I mean, like,
all right, put him 9 for now. We can argue later.
Yeah.
Okay. Next up, we have Hannibal Lecter.
Ooh.
Wasn't the main bad guy in the first movie he was in, or the remake of the first movie he was in.
Super creepy.
Yeah, it's definitely creepy. When he is escaping from like his prison at the end of Silence of the Lambs, and he's like eating that guy's face just about, I was like, oh, jeez, ugh, terrible, terrible. But I will say,
I like this character.
He's a good character.
Go ahead.
He's
I
a good
didn't
character.
like how he was played in like the last two. He suddenly started to become British. He's got a bit of an accent, but he wasn't like full on British until like the second two that he did. I like the character. I'm not exactly. I don't know. Like, do you guys say scary, creepy?
I think Silence of the Lambs definitely scary, creepy.
Wait a
Hannibal,
second, but
I just hate the movie Hannibal.
I agree with that. I highly.
But he's still creepy and he's still a bad guy, even though if he I don't care if he's not the main bad guy. He is more iconic. You don't see people dressing up like Buffalo Bill. Like
nobody wants to dress up like Buffalo Bill. You know how uncomfortable that seems.
Besides Tudong.
No, that seems uncomfortable.
like I think we the TV show, which I know you guys haven't seen, which you should watch. Mads Mikkelsen, he's fantastic as well, and just it's the psychological element. You know, like he's one of the few like articulate people that is going to be on this list. You know, like it's not like Jason's giving you some kind of soliloquy from some like deep philosophical trauma, or like being your psychiatrist and hearing your deepest and most intimate secrets, and then also serving you humans for your dinner, and then eventually was it Ray Liotta's character who gets his own brain fed to him, like with the
that's right.
so sadistic and cannibalistic and also incredibly smart. So that's scary, like when you put like that kind of evil into like that kind of a brain. He would be able to defeat Superman. I mean, not he's got like Lex Luthorian qualities, but like smarter.
He'd get Superman to kill himself.
Yeah, Superman's like, this is delicious. Tastes like bat.
So
I
where'd you put him?
I would put him. I would put him in the top 5. I
I
think
agree.
he's got novels, he's got movies, TV show, um, and I think just like the slithery tongue thing, fava beans and a nice Chianti.
No video
Okay,
Quotable.
games.
so above or below Michael Myers?
Ah, don't ask me that.
I would say above Michael Myers.
That's fine with me. I like the Lecter stuff better.
Like
And he, and
4?
scarier in a way, like where you're not really going to sleep at night thinking like the mystical Chucky doll or zombie Mike Myers is coming for you, but there could be a
Yeah,
Hannibal Lecter out there,
that's true. That is true.
and inspired a whole new. I feel like it inspired a whole new genre of all these cannibal based movies that are coming out these days. It's like a whole slew of them in the last couple of years. It feels like just like man,
Yeah.
It's really gross. I don't like the cannibal stuff.
Um,
Okay. I have a feeling that a lot is gonna like move on this list. I don't know. We're filling up the top 6 really quickly.
Brody, I like your hot takes tonight. You're saying I don't like
yeah.
I don't like Chainsaw Guy, Leatherface. We wouldn't hang out, and I'm not a big fan of cannibals. So you're taking some hard stances tonight, Brody, and I appreciate that.
I am.
Controversial views, but you're standing for what you believe in, and I like it.
I am. All
So what
right.
do you feel about BDSM?
Pinhead.
Good stuff.
Ugh.
I mean, Pinhead.
I don't
good
like
stuff.
it. I don't like him. He's a leader
Cenobite.
of the Cenobite.
Cinnabuns.
Not a cinephile and not a cinnabun.
He ties people up and feeds them Cinnabuns until they throw up.
That's not bad.
Yeah, it would be a bad way to go.
His movies, though, I will say, are like. Now they were gonna have in one of the Freddy versus Jason endings. They were gonna have like chains come out of because they're in hell, and then they were gonna have the boat separate Freddy and Jason, and then Pinhead comes out and is like, "Gentlemen, what seems to be the problem?" And they're like, "Why would we have Pinhead do that? His movies don't make half the movies of either of our franchises. He's a low rent character." And I was like, "Pinhead, really? He seems so majestic." However, yeah, like you watch his stuff, they're not. I mean, hey, the first and second one are exceedingly creepy and scary. It's just all the rest of them that aren't exactly even close. Like you're
Yeah.
just like, finally, Pinhead comes out. We have to see these idiots fumble around and then open a cube, and then we're like, all right, now to business here.
Pinhead being on the cover of the VHSs always scared me at the video stores. I would walk through the horror section and I would see Pinhead, and it would just terrify me. I have never liked Pinhead.
Well, we in that case, he's definitely above above, what is it, Leatherface.
Yeah.
If
He
just
might-
his image scares.
For me,
Huh?
he might even be like above Ghostface, maybe above Chucky. I don't know.
I could see him being above Chucky. I mean, that's a heck of a supernatural force right there.
He's so gross looking. He's got pins in his head. And I'm picking this picture because you can't see as much of like the slit open chest that he has. It's so gross. Why do you guys make me do these lists? Let's focus all of October on horror movies, Brody. Let's do every week where let's talk about horror movies.
Yeah.
Well, we can do this in December next year instead.
Yes.
So I think definitely has probably the most unnerving visual. Like creates like a pretty visceral response, at least in Brody's nightmares.
I would prefer fighting Chucky to Pinhead.
Yeah.
A little doll I could just kind of punt across the room, or a guy with nails in his face.
I would prefer fighting anybody on this list besides Pinhead.
No, Jason would chop me to pieces. At least I could somehow pull some kind of switcheroo or something. Anybody can outwit Pinhead, but Jason is just a force. No, Pinhead over Jason easily. He'd chop you in half, bro, before you even knew what happened.
That's all right. Pinhead looks like he would torture me. So
well, that's actually very,
where
very
do you guys
true.
put Pinhead? Where do you guys put him?
Well, see, now this is where I'm a little torn because everything that you're saying right now makes me feel like we should have him high on the list. Because you're talking about how scary he looks.
Yeah.
And how horrifying it would be to be trapped with him. I mean, the pure sadistic evil involved in that judgment of the box. I did also hear that the new Hellraiser is pretty good. I think Jamie
Nice.
Clayton is taking the titular role. That's on Hulu, so maybe we should watch that one together. The new
Hey,
Hellraiser.
bro.
You guys are killing me.
Maybe we need to rethink some things and maybe put this up top 6.
I think that's where it would fall for me. Would be 6. Would be drop Ghostface, drop Chucky.
Yeah, I agree.
Okay.
I agree.
Pinhead, the cinephile.
The cinephile who eats Cinnabons.
All right. Next up, we have the Leprechaun, Lubden Bukowski.
Lubden Bukowski. And he's Polish, too.
The Polish Leprechaun who stole your heart. Brody, you have an abnormal love for the Leprechaun franchise. Why don't you start us off? Talk about your love for the Leprechaun.
Almost all of them. I didn't see Leprechaun Origins because that was like the prequelish thing. But I saw all the original, all the way from Leprechaun up to Leprechaun in the Hood 2. Which, yes, it doesn't make sense. You have Leprechaun 1 through 4, and then number 5 is Leprechaun in the Hood, and then number 6 is Leprechaun in the Hood 2. So is it Leprechaun 6 or is it Leprechaun in the Hood 2? Come on, guys.
I heard that those were actually really good. I haven't actually seen them, but I heard they were really good.
They were fun and like funny, kind of silly. They were like it got into like the horror comedy.
The whole thing is kind of horror comedy, bro. He throws quips more than Freddy Krueger does.
Yes, I would say the first one definitely leaned more into the horror with Jennifer Aniston.
That's fair.
But then after that, as soon as they sent him to Vegas, Vegas was Leprechaun 3. But then, yeah.
Any character that has to clean shoes as soon as they're put in front of him is going to be a lot less scary. They put dirty shoes in front of him and he's just compelled to clean them. So if you just continually gave him dirty shoes, technically speaking, sooner or later, I'm sure you could walk away.
Leprechaun, he's also just defending his gold. Like, he's going after the people that are stealing his gold. If you stay away from his gold, you're just fine. Leprechaun 4 was where he also went to space. And if you thought Jason going to space was bad, Leprechaun in space was worse than Jason going to space.
Wow. You hate Jason Goes to Space more than any other. Even more than Jason Goes to Hell.
Yeah, well, Jason Goes to Space is a bad movie, but Leprechaun in Space is worse.
I think this might be an 11 or 12 for me.
Definitely 12 for me. Yeah, definitely 12.
12?
12. Try giving dirty shoes to Ghostface or Chucky. They'll slice you in half.
What if we start him at 11?
He's going to be there very briefly. Somebody else is going to go into 1 or 2, and I'm still going to be like moving to 12. And you're like, Tudong, we don't have anything for 11. And I'm like, you're right, because he's at 12.
I'm not saying he can't move to 12. I'm just saying let's just start him at 11 and see what happens.
All right.
Okay.
In honor of your Leprechaun fandom, we'll leave him at 11 for now.
He rapped. He did a rap in Leprechaun in the Hood.
That's not a play. Put him at 12 now, bro.
You talked us into it, bro. Put him at 12.
Talk us into 12. Unbelievable.
All right, next up we have Jigsaw from the Saw movies. Now, not just the puppet that would ride out on his little tricycle and talk to people.
And that's all he would do.
But the killer, the Jigsaw killer.
John Kramer.
Yeah.
I saw some of the Saws, but I haven't seen them all. I think that he's pretty creepy, but is he as iconic? And I think that's my thing.
Yeah, I think he's bottom for me.
Definitely.
I mean, like a lot of the scary stuff, it's like traps set by him, and then he kind
Yeah.
of like is a voice more than like a looming presence, chasing people down, and it's gruesome and it is
Yeah.
unpleasant. But yeah, I put him maybe 10 or 11 and move Leprechaun to
Ah,
12.
now we're talking.
Yeah,
Technically, he's as far as he's concerned, he hasn't even killed anybody, so he can't even own up for the killings that he's done.
I I agree. Let's start him at 10.
Nobody said 10. Nobody said 10. But that's
No,
okay.
I agree with
prolong
you.
it, bro.
I agree with you. We'll start him at 10 and see what happens.
All right, let's see what happens.
I'm glad you agree with us so much that you disagree with us, bro.
I agree with you. I'm not listening to you, but I agree with
Yeah.
All right, next up we have Norman Bates from Psycho. Which Psychos was he in? How many were there? 3?
Technically 4 because the fourth one was more of a TV movie.
And
But yeah.
should we talk about the Vince Vaughn version or?
I thought about putting Vince Vaughn in just to drive you guys nuts, but I knew it would.
Oh man,
Dylan might have shut off his camera if I did.
And like, you know what? Thanks, bro. Thanks for giving me a reason to shut it off. Now, this is interesting. I went back and I watched, like, on Peacock. By the way, they have the first 3, and I went back and I saw oddly enough, I saw 2, 3, and then 1. I don't know, very interesting order, but I mean, the acting in it is, from Norman at least, or Anthony Perkins, is really good. A lot of the other people are not that great, but I mean, it's also not exactly the first one was a masterpiece, and it did phenomenal work. The second one I thought was a very competently made movie. I liked it. I thought it was creepy and scary. And then the third one, I was like, I don't even know what's happening at this point. It went way off the rails. And then the fourth one, we start seeing like his past with his mother and all that. Each one, I think Anthony Perkins gave a really good performance. The first one by far the best. It's also, I find it interesting because it's like they blame him, and you don't like especially in part 2, everybody's like, oh, he's a killer and all this kind of stuff. He's crazy, and you're like, oh, he's not crazy. This poor guy who has technically killed a bunch of people already, but it was his mother, and then you're like, oh, it's his mother, but that's him too. It's his own version of his imagination of his mother. So we don't know if she was as bad. We don't know if she was as good. You don't go to the Bates Motel. More likely than not, you're not going to die.
But you don't know you're not supposed to go there.
That's true. That's true. You never know.
You just need a room.
The first one, he was very normal looking, and in all the others, he really looks like a psychopath. Psychopath. I would never have. I'd have been like, oh no. I don't need to stay here.
So this one for me is a tough one because I don't know where to place him. He's creepy, but I don't like in comparing him to like the monsters of sorts. Like it's tough. I don't know where to put him.
Yeah, because it sucks because if he's like never in his right mind. In part 2, he only kills like one person at the end. Spoiler alert, I guess. But I mean, he doesn't
I think you're
really
supposed to say that before you.
That's true.
Before you
That's
do the spoiler.
Like a 60-year-old.
The movie was like yeah, it was done in like 1980 something. It's not that big a spoiler. The point is that I mean, hey, he kind of got his act together, and then he went crazy again, and even then, it wasn't quite that bad. But I mean, it so sucks because he does like in the first one look so normal, and you have no clue that he's going to put on his mother's clothes and slice you up. So I think he is exceedingly creepy and scary, but yeah, he doesn't have the same intentions as the others.
You guys watch Bates Motel at all? The TV show?
I didn't see it. Was it good? I heard it was really good.
I started it and then we cut the cord and I didn't pick it back up. But what I watched, I really enjoyed. It's very intense and like you're kind of like watching this unraveling of a person, which I mean, I guess probably seemed more fun to me in 2013 than it does now. It sounds kind of like I don't know that I want to watch someone totally unravel anymore. It's not that's not that's not my jam anymore. But at the time it was really cool. It's really well acted, and certainly like you get to see like more of the mother son relationship and how it evolves or devolves to kind of create the mess that we get.
Ooh, Vera Farmiga is in that, right?
She's really
She's the
good.
mother.
Yeah, yeah. It's like he's a dude, but so is Jigsaw, and so is Leatherface, and he's creepy, and so is Jigsaw, and so is Leatherface. Do we need to switch Jigsaw and Leatherface? Nah, that's fine. I put him at 11, and I put Leprechaun 12. Is probably how I would do it.
Either way, bro, you should put the Leprechaun at 12. That I think we can all agree on now at this point.
Oh
We've
my
given you your one
gosh.
turn with him as 11, and turn is up.
All right. So
Now,
is,
we can
is
put
Norman going to 11 then?
Yeah, I think that's fine. Because he's very creepy and scary in the movies, but like also you can't dress up for him as Halloween really, and you know so there's that. I don't know.
All
Yeah.
right.
It's
Next.
a vibes list, Brody. We're talking vibes. I think his vibes scream 11.
Okay. There we go.
Not as intimidating as the others, yeah.
Next up, we have Pennywise
Oof. Ugh.
from the It movies, and I chose the newer one, but we can consider the older one too.
I'll be really honest. I saw the miniseries more as an adult. Like I wasn't like a kid. I was out of I was in college or something when I finally saw that like particular miniseries, and I did not exactly find it very scary. There was never a time where I was like, "Well, that's not true." With that when Beverly sees the old woman in her place, that was pretty. It starts talking like her dad. That was pretty creepy. But that was really it, and it stopped being creepy after that. I was like, but in the second one, and I'm sorry, the reimagining of novel, that seemed a lot more scary than miniseries. Have you guys seen those?
I actually have. I've seen both It 1 and 2 of the new ones.
You seen it, Charlie?
The complete bewilderment at Charlie hearing that I've watched these movies.
I'm surprised you watched them.
All these movies on this list, all these iconic and classic horror films, and you're complaining the whole time, but you watch the clown who murders children in the sewers. Like that's your jam. That's the one where you're like, I'm in. Not only once, but give me the sequel.
They're adults in the sequel.
Oh man,
it was scary.
Well,
it was scary.
If you watched it,
Pennywise
couldn't
is
have been that
scary.
If you watched it, it couldn't have been that scary.
It is scary. It is scary.
No,
he's a clown and he's very creepy. And the way that he is acted with Skarsgård, Bill Skarsgård. Oh my goodness, he does it so creepily.
That's true.
There's that word again, though. Is it creepy or is it scary?
It's both. Pennywise is both.
Yeah, I mean, he was biting into people's faces, into like their torsos. I was like, whoa, what the hey? That's a lot scarier than Tim Curry.
Yeah.
Hey.
Although I do love Tim Curry.
I will not tolerate any Tim Curry slander here or anywhere else.
Tim Curry is definitely a lot sexier than Bill Skarsgård. No offense, Bill Skarsgård, you're very sexy. But Tim Curry was, don't you what?
He was in consideration for the original Joker for the 1989 Batman, but was considered too scary.
Mm-hmm.
So,
well, for me, Pennywise, I think would fit right in at number 3 right there. Oh, you guys don't agree with that.
I'm a little high for my taste.
I saw both of you kind of scoot back a little bit. Okay, well, where would you guys put him then?
That is kind of high for my taste too. I've never minded that, but that's
Charlie, where would he fall for you?
Maybe like 7 or 8.
Whoa, really?
Really low.
Interesting. Why?
he's a scary clown, which has been done better in Killer Clowns from Outer Space,
Yeah.
the penultimate scary clown film. Do yourself
Alien
a favor,
scary clown.
Bing it, watch it, fantastic. Hit it up on the Bing. I don't know, like I think that if you went up to an your average Joe or Sally on the street, and you said, "Have you heard of Hannibal Lecter?" I think most people would say yes. And you say, "You heard of Michael Myers?" Most people would say yes. Chucky,
Definitely.
yes. And if you say
Pinhead.
Pennywise, people might be like that old, band from the 1990s, the straight edge punk band, Pennywise.
I disagree. Not with the
Because everyone's
remakes
heard of
being
that.
so recent.
That was a great reference that I just made. I think that really landed with a lot of. Hey, if you don't know Pennywise the band, Bing it. Do yourself a favor. Check them out. Bing it. No, I don't know.
I think there's
I
a
could be
fair
talked
amount
into
of
like
people.
4 or 5, I guess. I would probably move Lecter and Myers up, and but that's just me. Like I'm willing to be talked out of it.
Tudong, what about
Dylan
you?
I mean, I wouldn't mind if you moved even Pennywise up, but aren't Pennywise, Pinhead up. Because
Yeah.
I mean, I don't think Pennywise is as bad and as scary as Pinhead. I mean, he tortures you like for centuries.
Pennywise kills kids.
Yeah, I don't really care for that. That would actually motivate me to not fear, but greatly dislike. Like that would make me roll my sleeves up and like be like, I am gonna rip your freaking head off. Instead of being like, yeah, I don't want to. Like Jason, I wouldn't be like, you have offended me, sir, and now I will kill you. I'd be like, don't cut me in half. Please don't cut me in half.
Okay.
First time when I read the book, I didn't get past the first scene with Georgie. I read that and I was so mad. I took that book and I launched it across the room. I never finished it. I was so mad. Not scared, like in The Shining. That scared me. But yeah, it made me very angry.
All right. So are we thinking 6 then?
I would rather fight Chucky than him. So yes, 6 over Chucky makes sense.
Because I mean, all of these guys are scary. So
yeah,
Pennywise would probably be higher on my personal list, but I don't want to fight any of these guys. All righty, and last but certainly not least, Freddy Krueger.
We've been waiting for this guy to pop up in our.
Yeah.
It was all shuffled. I had no idea the order they were coming out.
This guy's intentions are probably some of the worst on here, like absolute worst. He was a child murderer, much like Pennywise, but he went way after him, not just like 1 or 2. Like when he was alive, he killed so many more people than when he was dead, which is really interesting. When you look at the movies he was in, he doesn't kill loads and loads of people. He kills like in part 5, he kills only 3 people. In part 1, I think he kills like just 5 people. Now, I will say this: his intentions are horrible. His kinds of torture before he kills you are also horrific.
Yeah,
he doesn't have the numbers that Jason has, not even close. And Jason technically did beat him up in Freddy versus Jason. Like I definitely couldn't say that Freddy was the winner. So I think the director was like, "Oh yeah, Freddy won," and I'm like, "You did not convey this, sir, at all. If you think he won, his head was chopped off. He can wink at the camera all he likes. That's great, but Jason was holding his severed head. He was going to put his head right next to his mother's head." So you think apparently like his mother won that fight with that girl when she got her head chopped off, but she didn't. She lost that fight. So I don't know. I could see him. I could put him at 1 or 2. Like Jason definitely has like more movies and more kills, but Freddy is a terrible human being.
I think this is my number 1, and I think that Wes Craven did a brilliant idea of coming up with something that was universal to every person. Sleep. Like, what can I try to make people afraid of that everyone has to do? And it's like Jason's like the fear of Jason is like the fear of like, oh man, if there was like a nuclear bomb that went off in my city, I'm dead. So like if Jason's there, I'm dead. But If it's not in my city, I'm just fine, and I'll just go on living. Whereas like Freddy's like someone hired an assassin to get you, and no matter where you go, you're never free, and you can never escape because you're gonna eventually fall asleep, and there he is.
Mhm.
And so like you can't run, you can't
Yeah.
get on a plane, you can't fly, you can't take a boat out to the middle of the ocean, you
Mhm.
can't buddy team your way through this because no matter what, some point you're gonna slip, even just a little nap, even a little doze, and then all of a sudden you're dead, yous. And I don't know why De Niro is talking now or whoever this is, but forget about it. He's a clearly Italian. For some reason, Freddy Krueger. Him doing this with the scissor hands would be the knife hands. Anyway, he's my number one. He's my number one guy.
I totally agree.
Yeah,
I was gonna give Jason the numbers because he's got them, but I mean, Freddy's relentless. Come on.
no,
Relentless.
similar to Pinhead and me walking through a Blockbuster, and you kind of walk through the horror section just to kind of look around a little bit, and you see Pinhead. Oh, and you look over and you see Freddy, and you say, "Oh,"
Like,
you're like, "I gotta get out of here."
ooh,
Yeah,
yeah.
it's the same type of thing where Freddy very much scared me as a child.
Yeah.
I'm trying to think of the first time that I saw this movie, and I was like older. Charlie, I may have seen it with you. I think you actually showed me this for the first
Oh,
time
The first one?
because
you're
I think
welcome.
the first one because I was so scared to watch it, and then I'm hanging out with Charlie, and they pop it in, and so it's just like, well, I guess
Sorry.
I have to watch it.
You want to know something funny? The first one, I was able to watch like horror movies at a certain age, and when I finally could, I was like, I'm gonna watch A Nightmare on Elm Street. That's gonna be the first one. I heard all this cool stuff about it. Go to the video store, and they don't have it. Like it was rented out, but they did have part two. And I watched it, and I was like, well, this is nothing like I was told. How interesting. Okay, all right, I'm on
The
board with
second one.
this.
Oh no.
Yeah. And then I did see the first one, and the first one, this music alone, I thought was unbelievably scary. In fact, to this day, I still find that score shockingly scary. All of the like the imagery, the sound effects, every part of it. He like when he's talking, his voice is high pitched or low pitched. I felt like that first one was shockingly scary, and the third one was really fun. Though I will say that.
The third one's great. I think I saw that when I was like 10,
Oh
and
wow!
then
Oh
and then
no!
I think maybe that's partially responsible. I'm still quite an insomniac, and maybe if we do some deep psychological study, maybe this had something to do.
Yeah,
I did really like the third one, and then went back and recorded the first one off of television and watched that, and then I watched the second one, and I was very confused.
yeah. I watched Friday the
Confusing.
13th young, but I just avoided the Nightmare on Elm Street stuff because I was so scared of
Hmm.
Freddy. So yeah, he's my number one. All right, so
Do the
that
voice.
is
Do the
that
voice,
is
bro.
all this placement. Are we happy with this as it is? Do we need to make any adjustments here? Should
We should put
Leprechaun
Leprechaun
move
in number
up?
13. No, he should move down. He should be moved to place 13. Move him off the list.
Just off the list.
He's off the list. We don't even have it. We'll keep number 12 open. It's fine. I'm okay with it.
we
Get a picture of like the little well girl from The Ring, and we'll put that as
There we
12.
go.
Are we good with everything else though?
Yeah, and I would stress if any of you guys are still with us and you have different rankings. I think the slivers between the slots for those top six are very very razor thin.
Definitely.
So you could really kind of shuffle those around for your personal taste. Um,
I mean,
but yeah,
all these characters are great, except of course for Leprechaun. All of them are excellent.
we're gonna hear it from the Leprechaun fans in the comments. But don't worry, Brody's one of you. But they're fun movies. They're just not like scary. He's not, you just don't steal his gold. And you're like, that's it.
Give
I'm
him
done.
some dirty shoes, and he'll clean your shoes. Scariest thing I've ever heard. I walked through the video store, and I was just like, "Ah, he's gonna clean my shoes."
All right. Well, if you guys are good with this, then I'm good with this. I'm looking at this and I'm like, yeah, no, this makes sense. This makes sense. So let's go ahead and read these off. Coming in at the bottom, number 12, the Leprechaun, Mr. Lubden Bukowski. At number 11, we've got Norman Bates. At number 10, we've got Jigsaw. At 9, we've got Leatherface. Number 8, we have Ghostface. Number 7, we have Chucky. Number 6, we have Pennywise. Number 5, we have Pinhead. Number 4, we have Michael Myers. Number 3, Hannibal Lecter. Number 2, Jason Voorhees. And number 1, Freddy Krueger.
Nice.
All right. You guys have anything else to add to this?
Looks good. That was a fun list.
Yeah.
That was hard.
Well, as always, whenever we do these rankings, we love to hear your own personal rankings. Let us know your favorite. You can go all 12, give us your top 3, just maybe one that you really like, maybe someone who's missing from the list that you think belongs on the list.
Oh, that's
maybe we need to unpack Brody's love of scary clowns and his hatred of all other horror characters. But either way, he's going to have some bad dreams tonight. Hopefully you won't. And if you do, come back, wake up, join us, put on another one of these episodes below me, and make sure you hit that like and subscribe below Brody for more bad dreams. See you next time.
Bye.